coming at you hot here with some Catholicism.
Jesus.
Just kidding. What are we talking about today? We're not talking
Welcome
about
to Real Estate
religion.
Acts podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Mark, I think we were talking about labor.
Yeah. Recently got something of a crash course in labor law. And
Because of anything that happened.
some just shenanigans. I'll leave it broad for now.
Okay.
It's
But
very broad.
yeah, shenanigans being just like a dumb waste of time and resources. You know,
Somebody
like
ambulance chasing kind of thing.
no. I mean, if you can believe this, this would be an offensive measure. But just to rebut the most ridiculous claims as it relates to like non-compete, non-solicitation. So learned a lot. First of all,
Any good nuggets?
yeah, happy to share a bunch. One, non-competes and non-solicitations in Massachusetts have to be reasonable. And it's a blue pencil state. So like a judge can read through it and say like, nah, that timeline is ridiculous. You know, write it out and write in whatever he thinks is reasonable.
And isn't Massachusetts an at-will state anyway? So if one party wants to end it, that's it. It's over. It's not like there's some implied ongoing relationship, or is that not true?
It's less about that. I mean,
No. Okay.
yeah, non-solicitation, non-compete.
So you're working for a company,
Yeah.
and then you decide to switch to another company, but similar industry.
Mhm.
You can't do certain things.
Well, no, I think you have to, if it's a non-compete, that has to be signed at the time of employment as part of some sort of documentation.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The hiring docs. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not just
So-
like, it's not like a blanket automatic law that
Right. Like if
you
I'm
work for
at
somebody.
Apple, I have every right to just say, I'm leaving Apple. I'm going to go work at Google.
Yeah.
But all right, so putting aside that part,
But you're not allowed to bring any intellectual property from Apple to Google. That's
Yes. And that would be, I mean, aside from what you know in your head, you're not allowed to copy paste like files and
Correct.
procedures and all that stuff.
Correct.
Yes. Okay.
So-
Did we bungle this on you, Mark?
No, I kind of started the bubbling.
We're trying to
Um,
save you.
My where I was going is, labor misclassification.
Got it.
My labor attorney told me, because we're going back and forth, and I was like, well, put this in perspective for me. And she said that she just had a class action lawsuit from a number of pest control technicians at a company who got together against their employer, and they were awarded a judgment well north of $1 million for these employees being classified as independent contractors instead of employees. And so it begs the question, then, like, what do we do? Like,
what is
Yeah.
what's considered in where's the line?
yeah. So I should preface, like, speak to your labor attorney. I'm not a lawyer. I just pretend to be one on a podcast a little bit. But there's a 3-part test in Massachusetts
Allegedly.
that determines if you're an employee or not. And it starts with filing a complaint with the Attorney General's office. So the AG is going to listen to the complaint, and they're going to decide. That's when we want to take on ourselves. Like, they're bad dudes. That's truly abuse of employees. And we're here for the people, and you don't worry about paying an attorney. We got this, and what we win, we'll kick it back to you. That's an option A. Option B is you get a letter back that says, like, we've reviewed this. We unfortunately don't have time. It seems whatever. We give you the private option to go and pursue damages by yourself. Hire your labor lawyer, Michelle, and have at it. So that's what happens first.
So A is like
Yeah.
the Amazons and Ubers of the world. They're like, these are good cases, newsworthy cases.
Yeah,
the other
sure.
ones are like, it's mom and pop place.
Probably,
There
unless
you go.
maybe you have a connection at the AG's office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not going to draw any headlines, basically, and score political points. Go for it.
So
I'll say
And the third.
so
third one.
one of the most interesting things to me in this process is that if the independent contractor is doing the nuts and bolts, the daily work of your business, they're not an independent contractor. So it's
I
tough.
mean,
No pun intended. Nuts and bolts of a construction.
Yeah.
But like,
job.
So like if you run a construction company and you hire an independent contractor who does marketing and graphic design, fair game. If you run a trash business and the guy doing your work is on the trash truck picking up the trash, not an independent contractor.
but one could say any sub you hire is an integral part of your.
Well, it's the main, the meat and potatoes.
I see.
It's the primary function.
I see.
What's the primary function?
What they're performing.
Because building a house doesn't have really a primary function.
Sure, it does. If you're the plumber and you hire a bunch of plumbers as independent contractors, then they should be employees. If you're the GC and your guy is coordinating the plumber, the electrician, the framer, well, that's the primary work of a general contractor.
The GC, yes.
Look, I
could see that argument. I'm saying plumbing doesn't make a house. So how is that the integral part of the job?
Well, it would be if the plumber hired somebody who he was paying as an independent contractor rather than an employee.
Mark's saying that the plumber's employees, I guess, are the people that are working for the plumber. If they're integral to his business, which is plumbing, then they are employees. They are not. But most subcontractors are their employees are independent contractors, right?
Yeah, I mean, yes. And this maybe is one of the, I don't know yes or no, but this may be one of those where it's like, yes, do you want me to tell you what the law says? They shouldn't be, and I think that's a big problem with the union. Like, the unions have a very strong case about a lot of these open shop subcontracting businesses that don't do it the right way and don't pay benefits and don't give them paid sick leave and call everybody an independent contractor when they're not. So, like, look, you get into the politics if you want, but the law, I think, is very plain. And the other thing that's interesting is, so like if you're using all of your time for that company and they control your time, you're also not an independent contractor.
Yeah, if they tell you when and where to show up.
Yeah.
That I know.
You must use this email address. You must wear, blue and the union logo on your shirt at all times.
Or they tell
so then
you
what about real
substantially
estate
how to do it.
agents? Because real estate agents are all independent contractors, but like some of the big shops like Compass and Coldwell Banker, it's like, you have to use our marketing, you have to use our platform, you have to use our signage, you have to. So it's like,
but isn't this why they're all like independently owned, quote unquote?
No. I mean, I don't know the answer to that. It's a good question, but I don't think that being independently owned absolves you of these requirements.
You're still
if that was to be true.
It's still
like a franchise
company,
model,
but it's not.
No, I mean, no. I my realtors all sign independent contractor agreements, and
sorry, you were talking about the plumber and
there's got to be a good answer to that.
I'm saying on a development project, you hire a framing company for 6 weeks. What are they, W-2 for 6 weeks? That makes no sense.
You should probably,
they're in and out.
You should probably use, if you really want to comply, you should probably use a temp agency. Or give them short-term.
Is there a temp agency for construction?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, very much. There's many of them. So it's
challenging. Care to name names? And how does that actually work?
Yeah, I get like an email a week from this one guy gives you the wages for carpenters, laborers, plumbers, journeymen, labor ready.
But like you have relationships with subs. It's like you're not going to go to a temp agency every time you want to go and
I own
work.
a subcontracting business now. We do demolition and trash hauling. So like I do need labor. And so we are thinking about those types of things, like who's going to ride in the truck.
No, right. I'm talking about on the GC side. Like I'm not, as a GC, I'm not going to a temp agency to like hire a sub.
Oh, no. That's kind of on the sub. Though it's always weird. The GC role is always weird. It's sort of like if someone gets hurt on your job and they didn't have workers'
it's a very
comp,
gray area.
Does it like flow to you? Like, are you their employer? And I think there's case law that's pretty varied on this, but I'll leave it there because that's going to start getting really complicated. But the other thing is damages, which is interesting. So the damages add up quickly because it's like double and attorney's fees for your economic losses and how they're calculated. And essentially, like if you want to try to do a profit sharing model, you still have to pay minimum wage, and you have to pay within 6 days of the pay period. If you do not pay your employees within 6 days of the pay period, like that will go into that category.
Like if they're paid bi-weekly and you don't pay them,
you're not even. I don't think you're even allowed.
You have a 6 day buffer to pay them.
If they're hourly, I don't think you're allowed to pay any less frequent than every other week, right? You can't pay monthly. Salary you could do monthly, but.
Yeah, I'm not sure about like overtime comes into play and, all this stuff. So like, it's interesting how quickly those numbers can start to add up.
Right.
So you think you just have a rodent control technician. He's not going to get a lawyer. I'm not too worried.
Now all of a
million
sudden
plus
it's crazy.
dollars later. Yeah.
Oh.
Maybe you should have paid benefits and called them an employee. So, yeah.
But think about how that, I don't know, because I feel that, I feel that the majority of small business owners on the subcontracting side don't have full-time employees, nor could they afford to have full-time employees, right? And what does that do to the overall labor market if now all of your subs have to have full-time employees and you have to give them health insurance and you have to give them retirement benefits and all this stuff? How does that affect?
Technically, you could offer those benefits, but don't the small businesses end up getting like really shitty plans? So like your premiums will be crazy, and you might just say like, "Well, my wife's got a job."
No, Massachusetts. If you have a certain number of employees, I think I want to say it's 7 or more.
Yeah, you're right.
Is it 7?
If paid sick leave, family,
and you have to give them health. You have to provide health insurance.
Yeah,
right, but you like. What plans would you even qualify for is what I'm saying. You'd end up with like a really shitty plan, no? Or do they force you to pay a certain % of premiums?
It's insanely expensive because when my dad owned his business, he had to pay for health insurance for his employees, and it was so expensive.
Yeah, more than 4 employees, you need to have like policies and employee handbook and guidelines around things like sexual harassment. 6 employees, more than 6 employees, I believe it was. Paid sick leave.
Yeah.
Less than 6, you still have to have sick leave. You just don't need to pay for it, as I understand.
Yeah, it gets very, very expensive. Like it's already expensive owning a business, but it gets way more expensive when you have full-time employees. And I think that it seems that it's a gray area, and people know this, but a lot of it's not enforced because they know that if they started enforcing it, the labor pricing would skyrocket and it would make everything so much more expensive. Like your landscaper, like how expensive is the guy that's going to mow your lawn now?
Well, you're making the case for the unions. I think if we had the head of the New England Regional Council of Carpenters sitting here, they'd say like precisely right, and you should be, and all of those guys should be, and that's why there's 2 different pricing schemes out there, and it's not fair that there is, because this one group is following the law and that group isn't, and it's probably what the law says.
It's probably what the law says. I agree. And my counter argument to that is it's like, okay, but like how, like you have a certain number of projects going on, and yes, the big guys are forced to use union labor, but none of 99% of the smaller projects would pencil and wouldn't get built if you had to use union labor. So then what would he does he just not care?
It almost seems to be as if there should be like a sizing requirement layered into that.
Nah, I don't know.
Maybe we should have a labor attorney on at some point who is an expert in all of these things, but I'm not sure you'd like what they have to say.
No, I'm sure a lot of times if you have an attorney on here, you probably won't like what they have to say with regards to a lot of things that have in business. But
and probably like business, everything is fine until it's not. Like someone, God forbid, gets hurt, and all of a sudden now they're talking to somebody who's very informed, or if somebody starts, some sort of a thing, and you're.
You don't have all your COIs lined up. You don't have all your ducks in a row, things signed, and
and we can continue this on a future episode. But I just thought
kind of opened a can of worms, Mark.
High level things were very interesting for the test of whether you're an employee or an independent contractor. How easy it is to misclassify those. This concept of wage theft on the employee. You have to be super careful. It is not a difficult thing to pursue as an employee or employees getting together. There's really a pretty high burden.
No, I think when you get into all this legal stuff, it can be very overwhelming because there's so many details that you have and laws that you have to follow. And there's unless you hire an attorney to review all your shit, there's no way you're going to be able to do it all.
And there's different standards. There's one where if you're 40 years old or older, which made me feel really old because I fell into this protected category. As she was saying it, I was like, God damn. But that's like triple damages. And, attorney's fees is always included in these types of labor things. And so Seems like if I was going into law, I might want to be a labor attorney. It's a good space to litigate. Goddamn.
I mean, if you, but I'd say, I guess to answer your question, Dan, maybe partially, you don't want to be known as the litigious individual in the relationship. So it's like kind of like a one and done. No one's going to hire you at that point or consider you. Not saying that that's fair or whatnot, but that would get out. No.
Like if you sue your employer.
Yeah. If all of a sudden you're just an abrasive person and you're always looking for a fight, like people will figure that out and then you'll just be unemployable.
Yeah, I guess a lot of times when you're applying for jobs, like there's a question on the application that says if you're currently or you've ever been involved in a lawsuit.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you're applying for a loan.
Yeah. I saw one guy who was literally just going on interviews and then when he wasn't getting hired, just suing for discrimination and just constantly winning. I think he made a TikTok account. It's one of my many TikTok videos. That's the fun nugget for the day. So I don't know. Do you want that over your head versus somebody that's
but
totally
I don't know. You just never know. Like I think that's to Mark's point.
Yeah.
It's just you can't control it.
So do your diligence. Hire an attorney. Don't listen to us.
Sorry
completely.
To be cryptic. I'll fill in blanks at some point.
Yes, we should get the details on the backstory of that.
Going.
Yeah,
it's not going to be my decision.
That's
all right.
Maybe when it's all over, you could talk about it.
I love it.
All right, guys.
I'm here for it. Thank you guys for listening and rating. Honestly, if you could please leave a review on Apple Podcasts, it would mean a ton to us.
And also,
we have a bunch there.
I know, but
let's get more. How many do we have?
I think more so subscribe to our new YouTube channel.
Can you leave comments on podcasts on Apple Podcasts?
On YouTube,
people interact?
No, I don't think they can on Apple
Spotify, they can.
The reviews, you can add a comment. But thank you guys for listening. We'll see you on the next one.
Cheers.
All right, bye.